everyone, Sabrina from Campbell's Freedom Farm. I just wanted to show you that it's snowing outside and it's just really beautiful. We're supposed to get 1 to 2 inches, so not a lot. Stefan's a little upset, he won't be able to sled a lot, but we're going to plant some seeds. You're probably wondering, what do you mean you're going to sow some seeds? It's snowing outside, it's going to be 19 degrees tonight, and we're going to put these seeds outside. How is that possible? Well, we're going to build a milk jug greenhouse. So some of the perennial seeds, nut trees, we're going to do echinacea, some of the wildflowers, we could put them in a little micro greenhouse, and I'm going to show you how we did this, and put them out in the sun in some mulch. I put mine in the mulch, and I'll show you how to do that. And I'm going to let them be for months on end. And the good thing about doing these little milk jug greenhouses, and you could use other stuff too, is that you don't have to harden them off. They're already hardened off. They're ready to go. It's like they're in nature and they have reseeded themselves, except they don't have to fight and you don't lose a bunch to the weeds as they come up or whatever. They do it on their own. They stay pretty moist in here, not wet though, so they don't get washed away, but it's a great thing. So let's talk about these milk jugs. This is, well, it's kind of hard to see. This one is not see-through, so we don't want to use these. You want some that you get kind of see-through, it's filtered, and these are perfect. Okay, and I'll show you how to cut them. I have also used these. The only thing with this, you can really kind of burn them if you're not careful. So I use these, I fill them up about this high, and I kind of bury these a little more so that it's not direct sun. Like the milk jugs got that filtered light kind of through the jug. But let me show you how you cut those. When you cut these, I put a line here, stop. You don't want anything cut here because you want it to be attached. So, and be careful, some of these are hard to cut. I use scissors, but a sharp razor knife also works. Okay, stop. Okay, and this is with scissors. But you kind of need the razor knife to start it. Okay, now that you saw how we cut them, you just want to make sure that you can bend these enough just to fill them. What are we going to fill them with? We're not going to fill them with seed starting mix. One, it would take an incredible amount, but these are ready in the soil. So we're using garden in-ground soil. It'll have nutrients to feed them, just like if they were sowed outside in the spring. Except we want them to germinate ahead of time and even bloom. So I have my garden soil here. Now for me, I always add some compost. So I would say 2/3 of the garden soil and the rest compost and sand. And the reason I'm doing sand is because it kind of helps with, oh, this warm. I had to put them on the vent to thaw. It kind of helps with the seeds to, roots to go through. Can't talk. Basically, it's easier for them. So, okay. Good thing that wasn't filmed. Okay. So you can see it's kind of light, airy. And then you're gonna fill your little micro greenhouse. Oh, and I forgot. I have to poke holes in this. I'll be right back. Okay, I almost forgot to poke holes because you need drain holes. And these are really hard to do sometimes. Sometimes it's easier to heat up a stick and poke them through. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, a whole bunch though. All around. And one in the middle. And these are really hard to do. Now I have taken shish kebab sticks and kind of put them under a flame, or over a flame I guess, and poke them through. If you don't do this, then basically they'll drown. Okay, so these are the holes. This one already had holes because I've used this container, as you could tell. I just save them. This is a new container. The problem is we don't drink a lot of milk, so we have to find other containers. So there's slits, and basically you don't want them too wide because then everything will wash out. All right, now that we have our holes cut in, then I want to fill them with our mixture. Huh. Piece of grass in there. Okay, kind of pack it down. And I would say that's about 3 inches of soil. Remember, you want the roots to really get long in here. That way it has a better root system for outside. I mean, it is outside, but you're going to transplant them. So once you have the soil, let me show you the seeds that we're going to do. All right, today we're going to do the orange coneflower echinacea plant. And the reason we're putting them in the milk jugs is that the echinacea plant is hard to start from seed because it needs a certain stratification. Stratification is when they have to go dormant in the cold. So for the echinacea plant, really 60 days, even 90 days. I mean, some people have done 30, but 60 to 90 works best for me. And I actually kept this in the cold outside, so it's already been in that dormancy. I only brought it in just to do this video. So when it's in this milk jug, it's going to be in its climate. It's going to be in the cold. We still have a few more months of cold. And echinacea also needs the sun to germinate. And that's what's so hard about it. It just has a hard time. So it needs the light. So I'm just going to do half of these. Now, not all of these are the seeds. They're the flower too. Here's the seeds here. And I'm just going to sprinkle them in here. I am really not going to cover them. I'm going to just kind of pat them down. And with the milk jug, it's got that almost diffused light. It's not a clear plastic, so it really helps. Okay, there we go. And then just kind of pat them down. The soil is damp, but it's not wet. Otherwise, it has a great chance of molding. And that's it. So the next step is we have to mark this. So we could put one of these in. A lot of times these wash away and you can't tell what it is. I'll still put the orange coneflower. And I have to get a pen that works. Let me get the tape too. All right, could you hear the snow plow go by? What I've done is I put my marker in here. The problem is it's very hard to see later on, and you know, it still gets wet. So what I do, first I have to tape this closed, and I just do a quick tape like this just to hold it. It's easier. And then just to hold it for a minute. And now we have the fun to go all the way around. Okay. I've had to ask my neighbors for these cartons. So we finally started buying lemonade and stuff since we don't drink this type of milk, just so I could have the containers. So please, if you have them, I have like 10 more varieties of seeds I want to plant outside. All right, now that that's on, I leave the lid off because I want some moisture to come in, and I also want air to go in. And so then I've made a label this way. This has worked the best for me. Can you see it? I've dated it, named it, and I'm going to tape this on. And really, I should have taped it this way, but it doesn't matter. You don't want any moisture in there, and that way you can identify it. And also, I keep doing the markers because for some reason, even though they're permanent, they seem to leak. So I need 2 hands for this. And I'm just going to tape that on. And then I get to go out in the snow. I'll take Huggy Bear, and if Stefan was done with school, I would take him out. The disadvantage of these greenhouses is sometimes if it rains too much and there's a lot of water, even though you have drain holes, it still takes a while to drain and you could still rot it. But that's the same if you just sow them outside anyway. So that's not very good to see, but you could get the idea. And the other disadvantage is they're ugly. So I put mine on the back porch underneath and I wiggle them into the mulch. Did you see the wiggle? And that way the mulch comes up to here, same level as the soil, so it's like it's in the soil outside. Some people put them outside like this. Not a good idea. Bury them to the same level. And then so they don't look as good in the back, and on the farm it's not a big deal. But you still have to check them. That's the third thing. But the advantages are they're hardier plants, better root system. They don't take space inside because I may have 10 more that I need to do in these. And these are all perennials that I need to do. I'm going to show you later on some that I sow into the trays outside, into the containers. And that's usually my cabbage and stuff like that. But the other issue is I have hundreds of seeds I want to plant inside. So I just don't have the space. And these need the germination, the stratification outside. So let's go outside and bury them in the snow. We're putting them in the mulch and then covering them up right there so they're kind of ground level. Okay.
And then almost the end of the video.
Okay, so all they do is sit. It's in the back so nobody really sees it. not pretty, but in a few months we'll know how it goes. Have a great
And we
day,
will
and
yell
please
you.
subscribe, like, and share. And the dogs love the snow.